Okay, I am really looking for a change of pace compared to my typical marker board videos. So, like, what I want to kind of do going into this year a little bit more is more like personal branding stuff. So that way you guys can kind of see just my life and how I kind of have developed. So, I want to call this the Looksmax or the Looksmaxing come up of Casey Zander. So, I'm going to show you how to maximize attraction and sex appeal step by step and show you exactly what happened. Now, you got to understand this. Going into 2026, this stuff is super fucking important. Like, this is so important. Dating apps are more prevalent, social media is more prevalent. Women also don't depend on a man for money or resources. Women make their own money and have their own resources. So, because of that, what is she optimizing for? Hot guys. Now, are you going to be a male model? Probably not. I'm not a male model either, right? But what you got to do is you got to maximize your God given genetic potential. And the only reason why I've been able to make these marker board videos for you so much over the years is because of what I've done. I want this video to be real and raw and completely transparent. I don't give a shit how any of this comes across. This is my life. So here goes. Um, I started off over here. Some would say I'm a cute kid, but kind of like a dork, would just do whatever. Still kind of do. That's why I literally am almost 30 years old and make videos teaching you how to get laid. So not much has changed. This is kind of like my baseline genetics. This is me at about 167 pounds. This is me at about like 185, and this was this past summer. So I've held six pack abs for almost a decade, or probably like a decade, and you're about to see how and you're about to see why. Like I said, I don't care how this video comes across. So this was me at about 18 years old. I used to think this photo was me at about 16 years old, but then I realized something. These black frames that I got these my senior year of high school, I believe. And in this photo, I'm also holding a real estate commission check because I was a real estate agent by age 18, and I'm holding a check right here which my mom or my dad took a picture, and this was me. So I definitely graduated high school. So why I'm making this, because what did I even write here? Because carving out a primal physique in 2026 and beyond will be most important. And I knew this stuff by like age 18. By age 18, 19, I don't know why, but a lot of this just like clicked for me because I wasn't out like partying a lot in high school. I didn't really have like a girlfriend or anything, but one thing I did have was a good sense of awareness, and I was really good at observing things. Okay. Now, like I said, women have their own money today, obviously. Like, women all, a lot of times, out earn men, even. Like, you'll even see this. A lot of times, women, a lot of times, out earn men. Or, women have sometimes, like, a college degree and he doesn't, or whatever. And a lot of the things that is more like old school beliefs, like, oh, the man just protects and provides for the household. Like, that was cool 50, 60 years ago, but a lot of times nowadays, like, women out earn men a lot of times. So like what you're going to find more often than not is hypergamy optimizes for what's missing, and a lot of times what's missing for her is not what you think. Okay, a lot of times it's rock hard abs and a stiff one. So here goes. Women have their own money, so they care about trying to get a lot of times hot men. You'll see this true even with social media. My whole life fucking changed in like 4 years. Okay. This is me at 167 pounds, and I'm completely natural. Okay. Completely natural. I put on like probably 20 to 30 pounds of muscle within this 4 year span. And keep in mind, like at this point, my mental identity did not catch up to like how I was before, like, or my new look did not catch up yet to my mental identity. So I was still just like a young kid in my mind because only 4 years had passed, but I literally looked completely different. Now, for anybody who says this is not natural, you are completely wrong. I only weighed about 167 pounds in this photo. If I put a t-shirt on and I walked down the shopping mall, you would not even be able to tell that I even went to the gym. I looked probably skinny in clothing, but I got a bunch of hot women back then. And I started to see right away that having a primal physique actually matters. I started to get like some of the hottest women, and I didn't even know at the time I was capable of this. It just like happened. Okay, so this photo I'm completely natural. 167 pounds, and you can see, okay, there's like 5,000 videos on my YouTube channel. I'm extremely disciplined. Same with the gym. For like 7 or 8 years in a row in the gym, I think I might have only taken like between 4 and 5 or 4 or 5 scheduled, or excuse me, unscheduled rest days. So I was that disciplined. And to this day, that's even how I kind of operate my whole life, is like I'm good at routine and I'm good at being disciplined. It's one of the skills that God gave me. So my whole life changed just from the outside looking in. Now, this is what I can tell you is women treat you drastically different. Drastically different. This is me today. I took this photo this morning. I weighed 189 pounds today. I'm 29 years old. So let's just read what I have on this slide and then I'll kind of explain. Had I not actually Looksmaxed, if you want to call it that, like when I started YouTube as a kid, like this word wasn't even a thing. I don't think I would have had anything to teach you all these years because I watched how women behave on a primal level. So I genuinely believe this. Had I not looked like this and like refined my physique, I personally do not believe that I would be able to deliver you any real presentations on these marker board all these years, because where I got a lot of my info from was real life experience and seeing what worked, and kept refining my processes and my strategies the whole way. Okay, so what else did I write? Most men don't know what this is like. So yeah, I can say this firsthand. Most men don't know what this is like to look this way. Most men also never get to see this side of women, like what it looks like or what it feels like when a woman has like raw desire for you, when she's like really after you, almost like lusting after you for no reason, just from you existing. And most men have no idea what it's like when a woman looks at you with pure desire. I do, okay, because this is the types of photos I used to take. This was me when I was younger. Like this was me. You're going to see more of this with age. But I've been through the whole kind of spectrum of all of this. So you can kind of see you can see like all the different changes of my transformation over the years. Like I've got to experience what female nature is like at every level. So because of this, I'm going to show you all this, okay? But what you got to know is most men never actually know what it's like to have real desire from a woman. So let's start from the beginning. I had really like no dating experience at all coming out of high school, but I started observing. Okay, I started observing by the time I was like 16. Okay, I noticed that athletes, okay, so the basketball players, the football players, the stud wrestlers, these were the dudes who attracted the most women, and the dudes that were ripped. A lot of times the dudes that were ripped were also athletes. Okay, so keep that in mind. Like this is just what I noticed. Okay, and since I noticed this, I obviously took note of this. Like, this is how it is. So any guy out there, like if you went to high school, college, you're obviously probably going to see the same thing. I was a cross-country runner, a track runner. I graduated high school at between 140 to 145 pounds. I had really like no dating experience, never went to prom, didn't really interact with women a whole lot in high school, but I'd notice things. Like I'd sit and I'd observe, like, oh, that dude is ripped, you know, and he had a girlfriend for a while, but then she left him. Okay, I'd start to notice stuff like this. And this was how I looked. Well, I can actually tell you how old I was here. It looks like I have the black frame glasses as well in this photo. So because of that, yeah, I was probably like 17 here. Maybe even like, probably about 17. This is when Snapchat first came out. And this was me at like 18 or 19 years old, like I showed you earlier with my real estate check. So, yeah, this is me right now at 29. So I'll be 30 in April. Let's keep this going here. So when I graduated high school, like I had no muscle mass, I was skinny fat, no facial aesthetics. I can tell you this firsthand, women treat you way fucking differently. I've had numerous experiences in my life throughout all of my 20s where women would come up to me at a bar first and start trying to talk to me, or even flat out say they want to go home with me. I've had women make out with me first at bars and house parties. I've seen all this, all from looking ripped or from like certain pictures of me floating around on social media, and then women would catch wind of who I am and they would want to see me or they would want to date me. I've also experienced firsthand what it's like having a hot girlfriend and then all of her friends wanting to sleep with you. I've seen all of this. And I can tell you this firsthand because I didn't look that good when I was a kid. So like I've experienced like every side of like female nature. In this photo, I was between probably like anywhere from 16 to 18 years old. I know I have 18 years old right here, um, but I might have been like a year younger. I don't really know. It's hard. What I do know is these glasses right here without the frames that are black, I had these my junior year of high school. But sometimes, even my senior year, I'd wear these too. So I was probably between like anywhere from like 16 to 18 years old in this photo. Um, and this is just my best guess. Okay, so I know what all of this is like. Um, so keep this in mind. Like what I'm telling you is since I've had all these experiences, I'm not telling you this to like boast or brag or anything. I'm telling you because what I'm trying to do is use my memory and certain screenshots in my cell phone to go back and find time periods in my life and roughly estimate how old I was in these photos and the things that I could experience. So, like I said, do I know for sure I was 18 right here? No. There's a chance I was like 16, maybe 17, maybe 18. It depends. I would wear these glasses sometimes too, even my senior year of high school. So I'm not exactly sure, but it's somewhere in that ballpark. I was in high school in this photo. So I saw all this. I saw all this with my physique. I saw all this with my training regimen. I saw all of this with how women would treat me and behave at each point. So I started working out. So when I started working out, what I realized in a quick hurry was like I personally was built more for I was built more for weightlifting than I was distance running. So right away it was easy for me to gain strength. Like here I am deadlifting, it looks like 405 pounds, sumo style. I was doing this a lot of times for 5 sets of 5 sets of 6. Every workout I tracked in a notebook. I tracked all my calories and all my macros, and I used to do fitness vlogs. So I'd actually record all my days of eating and like what I'm eating and why. And you can see genetics wise, I have a pretty good six pack. Like I'm pretty symmetrical. That's just the way God gave me, okay? Or that's just like what God gave me. What I can tell you is, like after I started with P90X, these were the old workout videos that you would have on a DVD player. So like my family, I remember like living with my parents, my siblings. My parents had a DVD player, and then I would take these workouts, P90X, and I would pop it into the DVD player. Makes me sound super old. I'm going to be like 30 years old in April, which is just crazy. But yeah, that's how I started, and then I moved into 5x5 workouts, or I moved on to this, like 5 sets of 5. Progressive overload style, heavy, everything was heavy, right? So that was kind of how I started working out, and my entire dating life changed. Like I noticed facial changes, my face would start to change. I noticed my body was starting to change really, really quick. Um, and when I look at or like I would look at Looksmaxing as like a multi-year journey is some advice that I would tell you. I would look at Looksmaxing in general as a multi-year journey. This is not something you try to do in like a few months and then you're done, and you did the quick fix. You want to go through a multi-year process of improvement. And that's how I personally noticed the facial changes as well as changes in my body mass and my body composition. I started to have a better jawline, a better aesthetic face. You can see even here I had more sunken in cheeks. I had good hair. This was me at WeFest, which is like a country music festival. I'm guessing I was between, 2018, so if I graduated in 2014 plus 4 years, I was about 22 right here, maybe 23. Like I said, I'm trying to be as accurate with the age as I can. I'm trying to be as accurate with the date with all these as I can. So I have a rough estimate of how old I was. Some of the photos, it's not exact, but it's a rough estimate. So then what I can tell you is this. If we go slow, this is how it looked, okay? This is how it looked year by year. Me getting older, and this was the transformation into being a distance runner. And then I started to work out right here. My senior year of high school, going into age like 19, 20 years old, probably around here. I'm just guessing I was between 18 to 20 right here. But I could not get super lean. I was struggling with the diet. I could not yet get lean. I had no understanding of nutrition. And then right around here was where I discovered intermittent fasting, somewhere between this photo and this photo. And I was probably between 19 to about 21 years old right here. And you can see just the progression year by year. This progression made dating a lot easier, okay? So the reason why I'm telling you this is because I have noticed this, like, this was how I acquired a lot of my knowledge over the years, and figuring this out and seeing how women behave was actually getting firsthand experience. Like, if we go slow, this is how it looked. Like, this is actually how it looked. This is side-by-side comparisons. You can see, just I'm flipping through these slowly, slide by slide. Okay, this is my first presentation like this that I've ever done as well. You know, don't bust my balls if I'm not doing super good. Like, I've never done a presentation like this, but I'm trying to show you, like, real life here. So what I've realized is that how you look in the face a lot of times is like the number one lever to win on dating apps and in real life. The leaner I would get, and the more I leaned into the pretty boy look with like my longer hair or stuff like that, I would just attract women way easier. So the face is the number one lever to win on dating apps and in real life. This is the goals that you need to have right here would be good jawline, thin or hollow cheeks, appetite control, and you have to set your ego aside, because getting lean and being in a calorie deficit, this will be harder to make gains in the gym. It just will be. It's going to be a lot harder to make gains in the gym when you're super, super lean, but that's just how it goes. Okay, that's just how it goes. Keep that in mind. So this right here is like, this right here, so notice this with all three of these photos when it comes to how I look in the face. This right here is like 2023, so I was 27 years old right here, and you can see like I'm fully bulked up. In North Dakota too, where I was living, the winters were pretty brutal, okay? It was pretty brutal. So I would go multiple months in a row with no sunlight, no sun exposure, very pale skin, and not a lot of cardio, so I was bloated always. So keep that in mind. Like, this is winter 2023. This right here is this past summer 2025. I personally think, despite being almost 2 years older, or 2 years older, however long this time is, I think I look younger here than I do here. Okay? And now this is me right now, like currently this past week at 29 years old. So you can see my face right now. I'm not the leanest I ever have been. I'm like somewhere between these two photos, I would say. Not quite bulked, but not quite, you know, super shredded. And yeah, this is how I look currently. So this is me this past summer. This is just, I want to show you this so you can see how big of a difference weight loss makes. And like I said, I'm trying to do my best with these ages. Like, I might have been, like, I think I got these black frame glasses my senior year, but like I'm not 100% sure. In these photos, like this one, I was between the ages, I would say, of like 16 to 18. This photo, I was between the ages of like 16 to 18. You know, if we scroll up here, this photo, I was between ages 18 and 19 years old, somewhere in there. So I'm trying to be very accurate with these photos so you can see kind of how old I was in each. Now, this is what I can tell you. Most guys that I've seen when it comes to like weightlifting and just how they look and their aesthetics in general, most guys don't even know their true potential. Like, their face is hidden by so much excess weight. Okay, so you have to focus on getting lean if you want to attract women. So notice, it's all about what your goal is. I didn't say you have to get lean if you want to be the strongest. I didn't say you have to get lean if you want to be a power lifter. I didn't say you have to get lean if you want to be, you know, an amazing, stellar bodybuilder. I said you have to get lean if you want to crush on like dating apps and you want to attract women. So you have to be specific with what your goal is. And I can show you proof why this is the sweet spot in just a little bit. So you have to understand the pretty boy sweet spot. I would say this right here, okay, at between 22 to about 25 years old is when I started to gain the most attention from women. And I call this like the pretty boy sweet spot. This is when you start to ace that female lens of attraction. This right here was the physique that got the most attention from women. And I was somewhere, if I would guess, between 167 at my leanest up to about 172 pounds. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, I tell you this because these were the types of photos I was posting back then. And keep in mind, like, I was born in 96. I'm like the last year that millennial is still a thing. So I was around when social media like first came out. I remember first getting Instagram. And like these were the types of photos I was doing to promote myself on like my fitness page that I made at the time. And I can't even begin to tell you, like, dating was so easy for me in my 20s. Like, when I graduated high school and I turned like 18, 19 years old, from 18, 19 years old to like that span of my early mid 20s, it was like ridiculously easy. It was like a light switch went on, and it was like I was just attracting women like left and right. I also had really beautiful girlfriends, and women would constantly approach me first. So I'm telling you this because this was the sweet spot for the physique. Okay, this was like the pretty boy sweet spot. What happens when you hit this physique is women are like nice to you for absolutely no reason. This is what I would find is that women become nice to you for no reason, kind of like a hot girl. When a girl is really, really hot, she'll notice that every single guy is nice to her for absolutely no reason. When you're in this sweet spot, you'll notice that women are nice to you for pretty much no reason. Like girls will just come up to you and want to start conversation. They expect that you're going to be naturally attractive with your personality, all that stuff. So timeline of events, okay? 2022, let's talk about this right here. This was the year that I went on TRT. Okay, this was the year I started TRT. So from 2022 on, so the past like 3-4 years now, I've been on TRT. Um, I went to a TRT clinic. I got a doctor. I got a prescription. All that good stuff. And I'll make a full video on this in down the road here. But I want to go through this timeline of events. And keep in mind, at this time, I was living in North Dakota. So like, I actually personally look older here, in my opinion, in my face than right here. But here's the difference. This was a summer photo in 2023. Even though I was older, this was a winter photo. And you can see in the winter, like my hair gets drier. In North Dakota, I would go, 6 months straight sometimes, no sun really, like no sun exposure, not really outside. Super brutal temperatures in the cold. So yeah, 2022, this was the year I went on TRT. So 2020, okay, right about here, I was about 175 pounds roughly. Okay, 2022, and I forgot to take a photo of myself in 2021. 2022, I was up to about 185 pounds, and the excess weight that I gained, in my opinion, was from a combination of still doing progressive overload weightlifting with the TRT. Now, this was a game changer, the TRT, and in my opinion, this is one of the best decisions in my life because I just felt amazing. I felt amazing. I would even notice I noticed like changes, like even on like a hormone level, like that I just never really realized before. Like when I went on TRT, I noticed that like this didn't happen prior to being on, but like when I was on like TRT, like after I would get done like having sex, I would notice like if I was like sweaty, like the woman would like smell underneath my armpits and stuff, and like just weird stuff. Like I actually noticed this. Maybe it was pheromones, maybe it was just coincidence, I don't know, but that's the stuff that I noticed. Okay, it was like my strength went up drastically in the gym too. Then, okay, 2023, in this photo, I was between about, I would guess, 185 to 190 pounds. And I was still in the sweet spot of what I would call the female gaze, okay, or the female lens of attraction. But I definitely started to attract women in their late 20s and early 30s. And I think that that's just a combination from like looking more masculine, and I still had good proportions to stay in that like female gaze or female lens of attraction. But I was just a lot bigger, and you can see like even the muscle maturity started to come in. In 2020 here, I was only about 175. So this is just important to understand. And yes, I'll make a whole video on TRT soon and my own personal journey with that. End of 2023 and all of 2024, I made a mistake of leaning into the hyper-masculine look and the hyper-masculine archetype. This was a mistake in my opinion as far as like dating apps and photos go. Okay, this is when I actually noticed a decrease in SMV, a decrease in sexual market value. At this point, I was about over like 200 pounds. I was doing incline barbell bench press here with like either 230 or 235. I remember doing sets of like 12 to 15 with this. So I was just really strong. I kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But this is what I can tell you: getting bigger will not help you attract more women. It actually ruins your physique. That's what I found, and that's what I noticed. It ruins your physique. And I actually started to have diminishing returns where, like, I was doing worse with these types of photos. I was doing worse, with this archetype. I wasn't getting as many choosing signals. Okay, so I had to kind of figure things out and redial in. Then I had to spend an entire year dieting and getting back into shape. Like currently, in this photo, this was taken a couple months ago, still on TRT. But you can see like way more disciplined on the diet. Face is a lot leaner. I grew out my hair again, and then the sun kind of like bleached it, so I have that more blonde, like pretty boy look. And all of this, you're gonna have to find your own archetype for yourself. But the reason why I can make this video for you and deliver you this information is because I was seeing women's behavior, or how women behave at every stage of my journey. So like I can tell you how women treated me here at like, 16, 17, 18 years old. Um, and here versus like the attention I started to get here, and the whole journey. I can tell you all this because I've lived it over the past like 10, 11 years now. So that's what I can tell you. I can tell you one thing, okay? So seeing women behave at every stage of my journey, I can tell you one thing specifically, okay? I can tell you this. I could not even imagine attempting to date right now had I not built my physique. Yes, it really is that important. I do believe that. It is that important. I could not even imagine attempting to date had I not built my physique. Because the experiences that I got with super hot women that before were never accessible because I didn't look the part totally changed my life. So all of my marker board videos that I have built, in my opinion, I would not have been able to make these as well because I would not have gotten to experience raw and real female nature when they are like almost like lusting after you on like a primal level. That's what I can tell you. So what you're looking at is 10 years of physique data that I've acquired through learning this. So if you like this video, I'll keep making more of these. But I wanted to show you like this was my entire like physique journey, and this is how I became essentially like who I am and how I built myself. So yeah, if you like the video, hit the like button, share it with a friend. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one.